Hi everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. As promised, in this video we are going to continue playing around with some new products from Simon Says Stamp that they sent over. They have a new release that is just out, and I have some of the items here, but be sure to check out the release so you can see what other goodies are brand new. Now, in the last video we played around with this vitamin C stamp set. It is so cute, and we made a really fun little glider card, and it is so fun. I really enjoyed making this. So be sure to check out this card video if you missed it. It was so fun to create, and I'm glad that you loved it. So it was fun playing around with that stamp set. Another couple things that arrived were this really fun background stamp that is created by CZ Designs. It's called Angularium. So fun and pretty. I've been playing around with this. They also have a fun little wafer die that says Simply Fabulous. It's really nice because it has the actual letters, but it also has the shadow layer as well. I've also been playing around with this too, so it's really nice. They come connected, but I already trimmed mine apart. So fun. And then they also sent over some of their lightweight clear acetate sheets. So I've been playing around with these three things, and look at this fun little shaker that I made. Isn't this fun? I was able to use the background stamp, and I was able to use this new wafer die plus the acetate sheets to be able to make this fun little shaker, and I love how it turned out. It was so cute. So today I want to play around with this background stamp once more, and I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this. All I know is I want to play around with some masking magic, and I want to create a mask and then play around with creating this fun design in more of a shape or pattern. I'm also wondering if I might just bring this stamp set back in, but I'm not quite sure yet. So all I know so far is we're definitely playing around with this once more. But first and foremost, I'm going to bring in some Masking Magic by Gina K. I have never used this, and I have been wanting to so badly. And what it is it helps you to create a mask so that you can just focus on one little area of your project, and you'll see this play out as we go forward. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a sheet of it, and I'll link everything that you see down below. And I think the first thing that I want to do is grab a panel, trim it down a little bit, and then trim this to size as well, and then we'll start playing around with cutting a shape out. Okay. I have my standard A2 size panel in 80-pound cardstock, and it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I am simply going to take 1/4 of an inch off of each side. So that is going to give us one side at 4 and one side at 5 1/4, and that just takes 1/4 of an inch off each side. It gives a little 1/8 of an inch margin around my little card, and I really love the look of that. So I also want to do the same here because I want my mask to be the same size as my card panel. So I am going to make this, let's see, we were at 5 1/4. Oh, actually, let's see. We're gonna have to do this. 5 1/4, just like this. Okay, by 4. And that gives us the same size in our mask as it does our background panel. And then I'm of course going to save all of these little pieces because you can create a mask for just about anything. And I can't wait to play around a little bit more with this concept in upcoming videos. So I will keep myself organized. I think what I'll do is see where the directions are up here. I think that's where I'm going to house all of my little scrap pieces. That way I know anything up here is tinier and all my full sheets can be placed in the back. What I'm thinking is that I want to do this background stamp, but I don't want to do a full panel again like I did in this card. Instead, I want to mask off an area that will showcase the pattern, and then the rest of the paper can remain just nice and white. So I think I will bring in these little nesting circle dies. These are from Waffle Flower, and I'm going to play around with what size. Let's see, actually Let's see what this looks like. That actually looks really nice. Okay, so one end done. Let me see in terms of size what that is. I'm gonna bring that off camera a little bit. That looks like it is about 3 1/8 in terms of size. Okay, let's go ahead and tape this down, and I want to do up just like that. It looks really nice. Okay, I think that's pretty even. Actually, should I do this so that it's even with the top as well? I should do that. Okay, so I think that is just about where I would like it. Tape that down, and let's die cut this out. Okay, I'm going to put it right on my plates here, and let's go ahead and send this through. Trim that out, and now we have a little circle out of our masking magic. And of course, now I can take this and keep this, and I will just place it right up here with all of my other scrap pieces. Okay, removing my tape. And now what I want to do is I want to ever so slightly, I'm just going to take one side off of here and see if I can line this up really well. And I have it just a hair lower. If you can see, it's just a hair lower, but that's going to be okay. I think that's close enough. So now that I have one side down, I'm going to remove the backer from the other side. And what I'm doing now, it's white on white, so you'll have to kind of be patient with me, but I'm masking off most of my cardstock and only allowing myself to work within this area of exposed cardstock. Now I have my brayer tool, and I am just going to really press that down to make sure that it is really tight. Okay, I have a little bit of residue from my tape, but that's okay. But I just want to make you aware of what that was. And I think that's going to be just fine. Now let's bring in the background stamp and let's play around with some color. I'm going to need my larger Misti, and we're going to do it a little differently than what we usually do when using the Misti. So what we're going to do, usually we have our cardstock over here on this nice pad, and then we put our stamp on the door. This time what we're going to do is we're going to remove this pad because, as you can see, it's very, very thick, and by removing this we're going to give ourselves some room for that nice thick background stamp, which is just about equally as thick as that pad was. So we're going to open this up, remove the stamp and the liner, and we're simply going to flip it over and put the stamp right in this little base here. And then we're going to work with our paper on this side. So I'm going to grab that piece of tape that I had previously used. I'm going to place that right on the back of my cardstock. And then I'm just going to position my cardstock where I would like it. And you know, all of the geometric pattern here is really, really nice. So anywhere really is fine. But I'm just going to set that down just like that. Close the door. And now we have our paper over here. So a little bit opposite of how we usually do it, but it's going to work in the same fashion. I'm going to bring in this color called Ballet Slipper. It is beautiful. And I'm simply going to remove the cap and press the color right onto the stamp, just like this. Okay. And once I have it down, actually it's kind of hard to tell how much or how little I need, but I'll just give myself enough up here. Okay, now grabbing my stamp press tool, I'm going to close the door and have my paper meet the stamp. Now I'm going to press really hard so that my paper will come into contact with that stamp. And then it will take on that pattern. Okay, and it takes a little bit of pressure and practice, but the best thing about it is that you can always just peek and because it's in the same spot, you can redo it. So as you can see, it did the whole thing, of course, but once we remove this mask, we're only going to keep just this middle part. I'm gonna go ahead and restamp that once again and get a little bit more. The best thing now is that you can see the circle. Do you see that there? So now we know where to, pardon me, we know where to place a focused press of ink. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna kind of swipe my ink a little bit too. Okay. Let's go ahead and see how that turns out. Now you'll see that there is, you can kind of see where you press the ink, and I'll show you again. That doesn't really bother me, but if it bothers you, you might want to try swiping your ink across the stamp. I was pressing mine down, but I really actually like the texture that that offers. Oh, that's really neat. Isn't that fun? I like it. So this is where I'm talking about right here. You can kind of see a little line here. That doesn't really bother me too much, but all it is where you kind of started and stopped your stamp. Okay, so now I'm gonna put that away because I think that's the color that I like. I really also like the impression. That's really pretty. So now I'm gonna grab my tweezers so that I can gently remove my panel. Okay, and then I'm gonna clean my stamp off, then we'll reveal this. Okay, simply wiping down the stamp. Get that all nice and clean, and it'll be ready for the next time I want to create. Okay, so as you can see on the mask, well, you can kind of see it's not completely dry as it is on the paper in terms of ink. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to just be careful to not smudge that ink with my fingers. But I'm simply going to remove the mask. Oh my gosh, isn't that so cute? I love that. That is so fun. And then you create a fun little background panel. Now you can keep your mask if you'd like to reuse it. You absolutely can. And as you can see, I got a little bit where I didn't get the mask quite lined up. I got a little bit of ink right up at the top. So what I'm going to do is grab my paper trimmer and just trim that off ever so slightly. Okay, so since I'm going to take just a hair off of the top, I'll go ahead and repeat that on the side. That way in the end, it's nice and equal. Looks great. Okay, and then I'm just going to do a tad here. And the equal amount on this side. That way, my circle remains in the center. Okay, and there is my final panel. I think that's super fun. And now we can just run with this in a fun direction. Okay, grabbing some other things from my collection. I have some sub-sentiments. I also have this really fun hello, which I think could be really neat on this card. So we have the hello, we also have the shadow layer, and I think it would be super fun to play around with kind of closing the bottom of the circle with our sentiment. I think this could be really fun. So I think what I will do is I'm wanting to potentially use this stamp set once more. So let's just bring some of these out to see. I want the little stamp to interact with the sentiment. And I hate to choose the same one, but she's just so cute. I kind of like the sitting one because then she could kind of just sit on the little L's. And I think that would be so, so cute. So let's at least get the little hello all done. I was originally kind of loving this girl who has her little hands under her chin, but I don't know that she's really going to, I guess I can do this. I don't know that she would really look right on there. There's not enough room on that L. And then there's the boy too who's sitting, but I kind of want to go with a more girly thing. So here is an example of our little sitting mermaid once again. She's way too cute. I think we're gonna have to go with her again. She has become my favorite. Okay, so let's really quickly grab our die cut. I'm gonna use 110-pound cardstock for this part, just to really build it up. Okay, so I went ahead, my camera stopped recording, and luckily I looked up just in time because I was about ready to finish up this card and that would have been awful. But I cut out my shadow layer and I cut out my word, and I placed them over here already. I was going to tell you about this. I cut each of them out 3 times out of 110-pound cardstock, and I stacked them up. They just look amazing. So much dimension, so fun. I also wanted to mention this. I found this, and it's from Spellbinders. It's a little magnet because, as we know, when we're crafting, things can at times get a little crazy and hectic. And I wanted a little place just to really quickly stick all of my dies as I'm finishing working with them. That way they don't get lost, because as much as I try to be organized when I'm crafting, sometimes I'm very unsuccessful at it and I have things everywhere. So if I can do anything to just keep my dies organized, because they're so expensive, I want to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I grabbed a little sub-sentiment and I went ahead and pulled 2 little sets. I have Simple Sentiments 1 and 2. And these are amazing. I use these all of the time. In fact, I used them on the little shaker card that I did earlier, and I did the Ridiculously Happy for You. I think they're fun because I'll tell you why. I feel as if sentiments can be more generic, like hello is more universal and generic, right? But then your sub-sentiment is really going to set the tone for why you're sending the card. And it's absolutely okay not to have a sub-sentiment. Sometimes you do need those more basic cards in your collection. That way you can grab them and, you know, use them for just about anything. So for this one, I went ahead and grabbed I'm Forever on Team You, because I thought that was not only just so sweet, but I also thought that it's just so encouraging. And I think encouragement cards are something that I really need to continue building my collection on. So right now where we're at is we have, oh, I love this. Look at how nice that is. That's so pretty. This is where we're at. Now I was thinking of just stamping I'm Forever on Team You. I was thinking of stamping that directly on the card base. But before that, I want to make sure that I don't want to bring this down. And no, I like it up because I feel like it really, you know, the shape of the circle kind of nestles really nicely there. If we go down too much more, we're going to see the opening of, or the edge of the circle there. And I think doing it like this makes it more complete. So what I think I'll do is let's grab the Misti, and this would look really pretty gold heat embossed, but I'm going to just do black ink, and I'll tell you why. In a bit, we're going to stamp our mermaid in black ink as well, and I think it will kind of provide a little bit of coordination there, if that's even the right word, but I think you get what I'm saying. Okay, I'm going to magnetize my panel down. I'm going to get everything in position here. That way I know where I want this. Okay, and I'm going to tuck. Make sure there's nothing on there. Okay. Tuck my little sentiment or sub-sentiment there. I think, in fact, I could almost just nudge it. Then we're kind of guaranteeing that it will be straight. Oops, it's supposed to be an eraser there. Do I want to do it that close? Actually, it would be fine because, well, I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. Oh, so many decisions in card making. Okay. I think that looks good. So what I'm going to do is take this off, close the door, but let's see if that's nice and straight. I think we're good. Okay. But because I'm nervous, I'm going to just stamp right on here just to test it. Do I have room? I do. Okay, let's just test it. And because it's a brand new stamp, then we can make sure that coating is is all off before we put it on our main card. And I only really worry about this when I'm stamping on a fairly completed card panel because I don't want to remask and redo everything. So might as well practice. And I can just do a little finger press there. That looks awesome. Okay, we're gonna do that. Bring this in. Make sure it's nice and snug in case we need to repress. And let's ink this up. I'm just using a Memento Tuxedo Black ink. This is going to be the same ink that I will bring in just a moment to do the mermaid. And the reason I'm going to use this ink is because it plays well with alcohol markers, which is what I will use to color the mermaid. Okay. That looks great. I'm going to give it one more. And sorry about the sniffles. We continuously keep picking up germs. I mean, my son today was in the pediatrician again. He just finished his medicine for an ear infection. He was good for about 48 hours and now he has a double ear infection, and it's just, we're just continuously getting all of the junk. Okay, that is way too cute. I love it. So fun. Okay, now we'll clean this stamp and let's grab, I know that I will fussy cut. I don't have the coordinating dies for this mermaid stamp set. So when I know up front that I will be fussy cutting, I go ahead and grab a lighter weight cardstock, and I'm simply going to just do 80 pound like I did for my panel because I feel like it makes the fussy cutting easier. Okay, loving where this is going. Okay, here we go. And as always, we'll just double stamp. Actually, you know, we won't. I think it'll be okay. We can leave our stamp in the door in case we need it again, but I think we'll be okay just with one. I might use the same color combination that I did last time. Okay. Ink that up. I will use my press tool just because it's a little bit of a bigger area. And that looks good, but because I double stamped my sentiment, I just want to make sure that the contrast is equal. So I'll go ahead and just double stamp it, although that was one and done perfect. Okay. There we go. All right, let's let this sit. Especially when I double stamp, I like to make sure that I let this sit for just a moment. I'll clean off my stamp, but keep her in the door just for a second in case I need to re-stamp later, and that's just in case I mess up on my coloring. But I'm gonna set this aside for about 5 minutes just to let that really set, and then we'll get to coloring. Let's make the most of our time as we wait for ink to dry and do our card base. I have 110 pound cardstock. I have it sized at 11 by 4 1/4. And half of 11 is 5 1/2, so that is where we will place our score mark. And then this will allow us a center line to fold so we can create a top folding A2 size card. That looks good. Now I'll grab my bone folder. Whoop. Press this down. And while I'm waiting for my ink, I think, ooh, I'm rhyming. I think I will start building up my card. So I'm gonna set this to the side. I'm gonna bring this in and let's grab some foam tape. And I'm just going to cover my back panel. That way we can bump it up a little bit. Okay, my last little one. And there we go. All right, keep that handy for a minute. And now I'm gonna go ahead and remove my little strips. And we'll place this right on our card base. I'm really loving the direction that this card is going. It's just so pretty. Okay, all let's turn this over and kind of bend it out and lay it down. So nice. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and glue this as well. I think that looks beautiful. Oh, I love it. It's so, so fun. Okay, let's grab tweezers just to give ourselves a little bit of help when placing this down. Sometimes the less you can have all of your fingers right in a small space, the less that you can do that, the more helpful it is to your eye, because then when you just have a little tweezer, instead of doing this, you just have, it's just visually helpful. Less is more. Okay, let's do that. We can wiggle it into place. I think that's actually really good. I really like that. Maybe that? Okay. Yes. Let's let that solidify. And I think we're fine to start coloring. So I'm thinking about colors, and I don't mean to be boring, but I'm going to do the exact same color combination that I did here. And for a couple reasons. I think that because it will be on a different base, in here it's drawing out all the colors of the rainbow, right? And it looks really nice. But because we are putting it on a different base, even though the actual coloring will remain the same, I think it will actually look a little bit different, right? Because this is going to be a little bit more softer. We have so much neutral. This is very bold. Reason number two, when you find a color combination that you just rocked, you just do it again. So I absolutely squealed when I finished coloring her. I thought it was just, everything visually worked. And I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Because you saw me color this in the last video, I'm not going to put you through that again, even though I think coloring is very relaxing to watch. But I have my tri-blend markers, and in that last video, I did go through the whole concept of how these work. Essentially, it's 3 markers in one with a light, a mid-tone, and a dark tone, which is amazing because it helps you really simplify blending. I'm going to go ahead and color all of this. If you want to see exactly the method for coloring that I did, go ahead and check out that last video, and this is going to be exactly the same. Okay, and finishing up with doing her cheeks. And I said it last time too, is I like to wait. I started the coloring with her skin. I like to wait until the very end to do the cheeks, because then the color seems to sit on top a little bit more. It's more contrast. If you color the skin and then immediately do the cheeks, I think it kind of just dissolves into the background a little bit, but I like how that looks. Isn't she cute? I love her. Now I will go ahead and use my fine detail scissors, and I will fussy cut around. Okay, there that is. Looks great. I can put my markers to the side. And just to kind of flatten and soften the edges from trimming. Sometimes it gets a little bendy when you're fussy cutting around, but I'll just flatten this out with my bone folder. Oops. Trying not to rip her little tail there. We should be good to go. Now, a couple things you could do. I was thinking as I was cutting this out, you could also do an action wobbler, which would be really fun. And the concept of that is you put like a little wobble on the back and she just wobbles, which would be really cute. Am I right? Look how that just, let me grab my tweezers because again, too many hands in there makes it a little bit funny, but how cute is that? That is fun. I love how she's just kind of sitting there on the L's, and then her tail just goes down and nestles so nicely there. Should I do a little action wobble? Or should I just put her on some foam tape? I think this calls for an action wobbler. I think it just is going to be something so simple that will make it so fun. Okay, and because, you know, she kind of seems like she would be swimming, even though we have her in like a little pink beautifulness in the background, I think it'll just provide a little bit of fun movement for this. Now, I do have another tutorial on action wobblers. These are so fun. I'll place a little link to my other one up in the corner. The other one was a really fun party bus. It was so fun because it created some movement with a bus, but I like little stamps that, you know, kind of are asking for just a little bit of fun movement, and I think this is one of them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I always love the back side. I say it every time. I never remember which one goes where. I think this side, see how this side just has a little bit of adhesive? This side is full adhesive. I think this goes on your card base, and this goes on your stamp. I think you can make up your own rules and do whatever you want as long as it adheres. So I'm going to grab my tweezers. Actually, I'll grab a little weeding tool just to peel off that adhesive. Place it right on the back. Plus, it gives her a lot of fun dimension. Okay. Then I will peel this adhesive off. And we'll be ready just to set it on down. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweezer, if that makes sense, the little action wobble down to see if I can get that a little closer. Because if not, it kind of goes like this and it's hard to position. So I'm going to see if I can just kind of tweezer that down and then set it, because I want this to be kind of the neutral position. I like it a lot. Oh my goodness, so cute. And then pick that out. Oh my gosh, it's too much. It's just, oh, it's so cute. Okay. Now let's just finish it up with some fun embellishments. Now, on my other card, I did a little wink of Stella on a starfish that comes in that stamp set. How fun. I didn't do anything for her hair this time, but we could bring in some embellishments and have a fun little something something. I did have these from Pink Fresh Studio, and that could be something kind of fun. That could be fun. Or I actually have these little hearts. Let me see what a heart would look like. I think that could be super sweet. And my eye's going to the pale pink, but of course you could do anything. You could even do, actually I can hold it up like this before even making a decision. That's cute. A little heart there, or even the green. You know, as cute as it is, I'm gonna keep it simple. I think I will add a little sequins around just to make it super, super fun and sparkly. And then final card. Okay, I have a couple of fun things. I have these that I used in the last one. It's kind of like a little bubble. It looks like a bubble. I have some really pretty pink that I used in this shaker. So fun. And then I also have this rock candy, and that's fun too. Rock candy as in a color. So we just have to decide what we want to do. I think I'm already really liking, we did this last time. I don't want to do the same thing. I think I'm already really liking the rock candy because it's kind of pearly, which kind of reminds me of like a seashell-y type experience. I don't know about the pink. Okay, I think you just go with your gut, and I instantly liked that. So I'm going to go ahead and just have some fun placing these around. Okay, I actually really like this kind of mirroring itself. I'm going to go like that. And I like that it kind of interacts with this white in the background. Let's see. Okay, actually, I do this a little better. Okay, so I kind of like this. Is it mirroring itself? It's not quite mirroring itself. What am I doing? Okay. Oh, goodness. Okay. There we go. So it's going to kind of go whoop. Okay, I think that that looks nice. I'm going to go with that. So I'll bring in my Gina K Connect glue one more time. I have the bigger of the sequins closer to her, and then I kind of go with two smaller towards the edges. So I think there's just so much fun going on with this card. We have the really fun background stamp that just adds so much subtle visual interest, which is so neat. I love the masking. I think it just makes it just interesting, right? Instead of a full panel of color, we just have a little focused interest there. And then we have a really nice and neutral sentiment, sub-sentiment, a little bit of sparkle, and then we have the surprise of a fun little mermaid that's just rotating. I think she's so cute. Well, not rotating, she's just kind of wobbling there, right? I love how this turned out. I'm having way too much fun. This is so thrilling to do. So here is our final little card. And like I said, let me bring the other one back in. I think, yes, same coloring, right? But I think given what they're on, you know, a bold background versus something really soft and neutral, I feel like they have just taken on their own little fun. I love how this turned out. I am having so much fun playing with this brand new release. Again, be sure to check out the additional items that were released from Simon Says Stamp. They have so many fun goodies, and I am lucky enough to be able to play around with some of them. All right, everyone, be sure to give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. I hope that this inspired you in some way, and I cannot wait to continue crafting with you soon, and I'll see you in the next video.